Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. I, as always, am Grestar, and this is another reaction to a death battle, Omni-Man versus Homelander. As always, the link to the original is in the description below. So we have Omni-Man from Invincible versus Homelander from The Boys. I've never watched The Boys. My only real exposure to The Boys is the 7 Battle Royale that Death Battle did, and I wasn't a fan of it. And then for Omni-Man, I have watched Invincible. I've not read the comics. I believe that goes farther, right? Probably. But I've watched Invincible, what was on Amazon, you know. And it was an interesting show. It was very gory. You know, it was another one of those like, okay, what if we had superheroes, but we looked at it like realistically? And it was a case of like, what if Superman was bad? Is that sort of idea, right? Which I believe is kind of the case for Homelander, though I think Homelander is more like, what if Superman were douchey and egotistical, and not like, what if he was evil? I don't know. I've never seen The Boys. But, if you watched my last Death Battle reaction, Vegeta versus Thor, Thor versus Vegeta, then you'll know that the results of this one, I believe at least, were spoiled for me. It could have been a matter of I misunderstood what was said, but keep in mind that I am now going to spoil what I think the spoiler was, so you should have watched the video already. By the way, I'm sorry if I do spoil people on these death battles when I talk about them out of order or things that I heard, etc. I assume that people who watch my reactions have already seen all of Death Battle, at least all the ones that they're interested in not having spoiled. So apologies if that was ever not the case. But I'm going to spoil that now, so 3, 2, 1, blah. So I was on the Death Battle Discord server, and they were having a game night. They were playing Friday the 13th, and they had these opportunities where, you know, if people ask questions in the chat, like, I assume moderators would, post them to the people playing the game, like Ben Singer. One of the questions someone asked was, what was your favorite death in Death Battle? And I believe someone who actually worked on Death Battle in some capacity, unfortunately I don't remember the title or the name, they said that their favorite death was Homelander's. And so, pretty sure Homelander's gonna die. Now, I already thought Homelander was gonna die. Once I heard about this death battle, just what I knew about Omni-Man, I assumed Omni-Man would kind of stomp him, but I didn't know anything about Homelander, so, you know, I was going to wait, of course, until I watched the analyses and actually gathered information. But pretty sure that confirmed my suspicion that Omni-Man was going to win. It could always have been the case that they meant the death Homelander caused was their favorite, but that would be a weird English thing, and I just doubt that's the case. So, going into this with the assumption that Omni-Man is indeed going to win, again, having had that thought already and then having it confirmed, more or less, with that bit of spoiler, which obviously wasn't directed at me, I just happened upon it, which is why I often don't involve myself in death battle things outside of these reactions. But yeah, so sorry about that. We're still going to try to determine why Omni-Man is going to win, you know, after the prediction's over, before the fight begins, so I hope you're looking forward to it. But yes, with that, we're not calling it. With that, let's get to watching. So here we go for the death battle. Omni-Man versus Homelander. Take it away.
Omni-Man, the invincible champion from planet Viltrum.
Right.
Homelander, the world's greatest superhero. Brought to you by Vought International.
Few heroes have stood the test of time with more aplomb than the very first, Superman. But what if absolute power did, in fact, corrupt absolutely?
Right.
Answer, we're all screwed. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
It was pretty bloody there in that bit of the show they showed.
Look, up in the sky.
Homelander, that is.
It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's Omni-Man.
Omni-Man?
Had you go in there for a second, huh?
Not really. His name is in the title of the video.
Yeah.
He might be forgiven for mistaking Nolan Grayson for his classic comic inspiration. He's even got that sexy mustache that he's not afraid to hide with terrible CGI.
Ah, yes.
Born on the planet Viltrum,
I've still
Nolan
never
was
seen
sent to
Justice
Earth to
League or
act
the,
as a
you know, Snyder
superpowered
Cut.
alien defender and spread the enlightenment of his utopian homeworld.
And as his superhero alter ego Omni-Man, there was no one better suited to the task. He's saved the world countless times, worked alongside the Guardians of the Globe, and even married and had a son,
Yeah,
Mark.
which is a
Life
pretty
couldn't
big
be
deal in the
better
show.
Until Mark inherited his dad's Viltrumite powers. That's when Mark found out that his dad was a stinking rat bastard.
I mean, it took some
liar.
time, but
Turns out,
yes.
Viltrum wasn't exactly the peaceful utopia Nolan promised.
Peaceful in the sense that they culled half their population,
Yeah.
murdering billions with their bare hands until only the strongest were left, united by a common purpose.
This Viltrumite empire then went on to conquer planet after planet in their home galaxy, murdering any who dared oppose them. So just scratch that whole peaceful part entirely.
Right, yeah.
Turns out Omni-Man was here to do that same thing to Earth. Sorry, Mark. Your dad's a dick.
Yeah.
Even worse, he's easily the most powerful being on
By the way,
entire
gore warning
planet.
in this
Imagine
episode.
combining the raw power of a Kryptonian
Like,
and
people
the
in the
bloodlust
comments
of a
warned me
Saiyan,
very much.
And what you get is basically a Viltrumite.
Due to their unique DNA, Viltrumites are composed of smart atoms that they can manipulate to achieve superhuman feats,
Oh.
like holding their breath for weeks on end by drawing more energy from the oxygen inside them.
Interesting.
Kinda reminds me of that whole bioelectric aura thing Superman has. That's basically how comic writers bullshit a sciencey
Right.
explanation for his powers.
Except
I'm fine, I had to
atoms
sneeze.
make even less sense. How can atomic structure be designated by your DNA? DNA is made of atoms. It's completely nonsensical biological hogwash that I cannot stand.
Uh-oh, comics fans. I'm calling this debunk. Viltrumites can
Sure,
fly,
okay.
withstand near absolute zero temperatures, and even possess insane healing factors. You know, stuff like getting punched through the stomach, having your guts ripped out, or having your face smashed up in a tomato soup. I don't mean to
Yeah.
exaggerate, but Viltrumites in this series get fucked up and somehow survive.
However, too much trauma to the brain or heart can overtax their healing factors, and intense heat can be especially damaging.
Even the most powerful
but they're, like, on the
Viltrumites
sun
can
there.
be killed by extended baths in the spicy hot plasma of a star.
And because of their abilities, their inner ear vestibular system is far more sensitive than a regular human's.
Oh.
Intense sonic pressure will disrupt their fragile equilibrium and even prevent them from flying.
Though
Okay.
pushing themselves to their physical limits only ends up making them way stronger. And considering Nolan has been alive and planet conquering for thousands of years, he's easily one of the toughest Viltrumites around.
Yeah.
Like, other aliens attacking him will literally splatter their bodies against him.
Wow.
But Mark didn't inherit everything from his
They're
dad.
moving fast then.
Despite his alien genes, Mark was raised as a human with our weak, pathetic human values like love and compassion and
Right.
not brutally murdering the shit out of everyone you see like a maniac.
Yeah.
It made it difficult for Nolan to relate to his kid.
Such as
That
when these
train scene was
aliens
brutal.
invaded Earth. Mark tried
that
his
whole
best to minimize
episode.
casualties and outsmart his numerically superior foes.
Nolan, meanwhile, tackled their leader through the portal back to their homeworld, then spent some time systematically annihilating their planet for even daring to take Earth from him.
Yeah.
Classic generational divide.
Annihilate is underselling it. Nolan flew so fast that his body lit their planet's atmosphere on fire, creating massive country-sized explosions, with his own body as the projectile.
Omni-Man has flown across galaxies in only a week, survived
Okay.
punching a hole through a planet, and even deflected a meteor the size of Texas.
Assuming that means the diameter of the meteor is equivalent to the distance from the top of the Panhandle to the Gulf of Mexico.
Sure, yeah.
That would make it 1,300 kilometers wide.
And weigh over 4.6 quintillion tons.
Like, just Texas
moving
coming at it.
re-entry speeds of over 11,000 meters per second. It had hit with enough energy to destroy the moon twice over.
So Omni-Man is strong enough to slaughter those who considered him an ally,
Right.
the Guardians of the Globe.
Yes.
All to ensure as seamless a transition to the coming Viltrumite rule as possible.
Too bad for Nolan, it wouldn't be that easy because he'd have to go through his son first.
Mark was horrified by his father's treachery, spurred on by the reveal that Nolan only viewed his mother as a pet,
Which
a
was so
disposable
sad.
broodmare. Invincible fought Omni-Man to save the planet.
Didn't go
And
well.
that's when Mark's real Viltrumite training began. Get it? Training?
I do,
Like the train?
yeah.
Yes, we get it.
Yeah.
It was a good pun. Jesus.
But if anything, it was Omni-Man that learned a lesson about humanity that day.
He may have tried to turn Mark into a Viltrumite, but in reality, as Nolan fled Earth with tears in his eyes, Mark made his father human.
A little bit, maybe.
Welcome.
We don't know,
to
he could just
Vought
come back.
International, a multi-billion-dollar American conglomerate whose #1 products are the greatest superheroes on the face of the earth.
That's right. Superheroes are real and they're big business.
Imagine a company that possesses a monopoly on popular culture, pumping
Okay.
out movies, TV shows, action figures, and video games constantly, drowning the masses in a slurry of focus-tested
we just
nostalgia
talking about
opium with
Disneyland?
no end in sight.
Yeah. Imagine.
Within Vought's pantheon of gods among men is their premier super team, the Seven, and its
I guess I
leader,
should just say Disney.
Homelander.
He's got the looks, the charm, the Jesus, and most importantly, he's got the power to slaughter all of America's enemies at home and abroad.
Oh,
this guy
oh
probably
dear.
eats freedom and shits eagles.
But Homelander's squeaky clean corporate sheen is only skin deep.
Yeah,
Far
okay.
from the big blue Boy Scout he's marketed as, Homelander is probably the closest thing to Lucifer on Earth.
Oh.
Remember Bad Future Biff from Back to the Future? Now give him
Not really.
superpowers and media training.
Vought's official story is that Homelander was an alien who landed here as a baby. A tale we're all familiar
Yes,
And
very
wasn't
much
total
Superman.
Bullshit. Homie was made in a lab with Vought's proprietary super soldier serum,
Oh.
Compound V.
with. And he was a complete success.
Too much of a success. He was murdering rooms of terrified scientists before his umbilical cord was even cut.
Oh,
In the
no.
comics, Vought had to keep a remote-controlled hydrogen bomb strapped to him at all times because they had no idea what else could possibly kill him.
As
Would
he
that
grew
kill
up,
him
he was
then?
subjected to psychological conditioning to make him the greatest and most profitable hero of all time.
It wasn't long before he debuted as Homelander, the ultimate defender of the American dream.
Homelander possesses massively superhuman strength, speed, and durability. He can fly at hypersonic speeds, see through walls with X-ray vision, and detect a person's emotional state from just the sound of their heartbeat.
But you know you're done for when he breaks out his heat vision, which is strong enough to slice through crowds of people or split airplanes in half.
Or screams so loud that it shatters the eardrums of anyone around him.
Ooh.
Those are innocent bystanders whose ears are exploding, by the way. Oh yeah, he totally botched this mission to stop a plane hijacking, so he forced each and everyone on board to die in the resulting crash so they wouldn't reveal his incompetence.
Oh.
Homelander's powers may be
Oh.
real, but his heroism is a charade. Though he plays his part well, he cares nothing for the peons he's forced to protect.
The only thing he treasures is, ironically, his public image. Turns out being raised as a lab experiment doesn't create a healthy person.
No.
Don't worry.
Can't
he
imagine it
eventually
would.
cleaned up his act and started a totally 100% healthy sexual relationship with a fellow superhero who just happened to be an actual Nazi.
Oh.
Speaking of sex, Wiz, you know how I'm always saying we should figure out how Superman and Lois get busy? Well, forget that, because Homelander proved that they can't when his ejaculation blew his partner to smithereens.
Oh.
Who drew that?
Look,
Oh.
there's no way to sugarcoat this. Considering a human's load has much less mass than a shotgun pellet, it would have to be moving significantly faster to achieve the same kinetic energy. Over 1,500 meters per second, or 4.5 times faster than sound.
Interesting.
That's right. Homelander can bust a nut faster than the speed
Why-
of sound.
Why do you have that
Well,
in your
good night,
ear?
everybody. Ooh, kinda sucks for humanity that they made this dude the most powerful being on the planet and a psycho murderer.
Yeah.
That's no exaggeration. Stillwell even commented that Homelander has proven immune to every weapon known to mankind, no matter how powerful. Humanity literally lacks the ability to kill him.
That'd include nuclear weapons as powerful as the Tsar bomb, which exploded with the energy of 50 megatons of TNT.
Actually, it could have exploded with twice that. But the Soviets who created it were afraid it would irreversibly alter Earth's biosphere and end the world.
Oh.
That's right. We all almost died.
Cool.
And that's the kind
Great.
of shit Homelander can shrug off no problem. He's strong enough to throw a jet with one hand and fast enough to outspeed a C4 explosion.
Despite being an emotionally stunted man-child, Homelander is still surprisingly cunning and able to manipulate those around him.
Though it probably wasn't too smart to piss off the world's angriest limey, Billy Butcher. Yeah, turns out forcibly fathering a bastard son with someone else's wife is not a good idea.
Of note, as unjustifiable as it is, to Homelander, this gave him something he never had before. Some small measure of control over his own life.
Being born Vought's star pupil meant he was under their thumb from the day he was born.
I
His
see.
superpowered son was the first thing that was truly his and might be his best option for a new beginning. Or not.
Is he okay?
All right, the combatants are set. We've run the data through all
All right, well,
possibilities.
it's time for a death battle. Pause. Okay, so yeah, I still think Omni-Man's going to win. Like the speed feats that they gave for Homelander, the two biggest ones that come to mind is just flying at like, you know, Mach speeds or whatever, and then avoiding a C4 detonation while he was like in the middle of it. And like, yeah, those are obviously very fast, but it's not the same kind of speed that Omni-Man was showing off, where he could just like light himself on fire, or like the, you know, combust the air around him, the very atmosphere, you know? And then, yeah, like, I was wondering for a while if Homelander was actually going to be susceptible to damage by, like, hydrogen bombs, because they mentioned, like, you know, we strapped a hydrogen bomb to him for the longest time, just in case things went wrong and we couldn't control him. But then they said near the end that, like, he was surviving those, like, just shrugging them off. And so that's, you know, obviously pretty survivable. But considering that Omni-Man was able to, like, destroy that meteor and was, like, just fine, just, like, running into it, and it would have done, it was, like, way more than a hydrogen bomb, you know, and he could just shrug that off. Not to mention that Omni-Man's whole thing, aside from just having, like, the 1,000+ years of fighting experience, etc., I guess it's not purely fighting, but I'm sure most of that probably is, he also, to just stay alive on Viltrum, he had to fight against people that I assume were like Homelander levels, you know? Just because the Viltrumites themselves are so powerful. So I really don't think, and yes, I did have a spoiler where I'm pretty sure Homelander was going to die anyway, but I don't know what, like, here's the one thing, the one thing that I think Homelander has over Omni-Man is like the hypersonic like scream and like clapping and everything, where he can burst eardrums, because Viltrumites have the very sensitive just ears, hearing, etc., where it can throw off their sense of balance. And they mentioned in the analysis for Omni-Man that if that happens, like, they can no longer fly. And I don't know if that's a perpetual thing, like from this point on you just can't fly anymore. And I don't know if other things are thrown way off. I assume it would be shocking, like jarring, but I don't think that it would, like, end Omni-Man. I mean, and another thing, too, is that Omni-Man has a healing factor. I don't really remember them talking about a healing factor for Homelander. They very well might have. But, just even if Omni-Man does get, like, beaten up a bit, or, like, his eardrums are ruptured, or things like that, it could heal, potentially. I don't know how fast it could heal, because, like, Omni-Man in the show, he, you know, when he fought, like, the equivalent of the Justice League, because I don't remember what they were called in that, like, he got beat up and he was in a coma for a while. Like, it took time for him to heal, and he was being, like, medically treated by, you know, science that wasn't available to the public. But he could still heal, so I think only, like, minor things are probably going to be healed during the fight, if anything. So it doesn't super come into play, I guess. But I don't think that one thing would take the win away from Omni-Man, because really, I don't know what Homelander could do. I would say the next biggest thing that Homelander probably has is his heat vision, but considering that Omni-Man, like, yes, he is susceptible to heat, but that was when they were, like, basically fighting in a star. Omni-Man survived going through a planet, like, including the core of the planet, which I imagine is very hot. So I don't think that the heat vision is going to do what Homelander would want it to do. So I'm going to say that Omni-Man is going to win this one and play. Like, he just seems more survivable. He seems more, like, offensive, like, lethal. He seems more, experienced.
Howdy, neighbor. Coco?
Faster.
It's warm. You know, Nolan, Homelander is more than just a superhero.
Yeah?
It might be cynical to say this, but he's a brand. And it's very important to me that that brand means something. And if I'm playing second fiddle to some goddamn alien, what's really the point, right? What do you think?
But you're also an alien. Oh.
Aw, she's shy. So, do we have an understanding?
Get the fuck out of my country.
This
I'm
is
going
like
to feed you your own heart.
This is like John Wick. You don't just kill someone's pet.
Shit. That was a great line.
This is really cool so far with the animation.
Seriously? I'm not here for your country.
Yeah, he's here for the world. What's the news gonna think? Oh no, it's what he's used to. It's a nice reference though with the train scene.
Never been hit by someone your own size before? You have to turn with the punch to reduce.
Better.
Ah, they're gone. Bye.
What's the matter? Are you going to cry?
After I'm done with you, I'm gonna flashpoint that little shit son of yours! This worthless neighborhood! And every goddamn person you know!
There's the heart.
Remember what I promised you.
I do.
Now swallow.
Oh.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, no surprise. I did think he was gonna follow through with the promise. I wasn't sure how, but
Despite Homelander's dominance within the world of the boys, he's a big fish in a small pond. Relatively
still thinking about it.
Homelander can move faster than sound, while Omni-Man can move faster than light. Homelander can survive a nuke, while Omni-Man can shatter the moon twice over.
Yeah.
To be fair, Homelander did have a couple of abilities Omni-Man didn't, like his heat vision.
And while Viltrumite healing factors have failed against continuous exposure to the heat of stars, that still took quite a bit of time. And there's no reason to think Homelander's heat vision was anywhere near that hot.
Yes.
Hell, Nolan's tanked heat vision from the superhero Mean Supreme before, who can vaporize people in an instant.
Even if it was hot enough, Omni-Man's superior speed would cut him off before he could do any lasting damage. Similarly, despite being able to disrupt his equilibrium with his supersonic screaming, Homelander wasn't strong enough to capitalize on it in any meaningful way.
Plus, while Homelander
Exactly.
is pretty devious when the situation calls for it, Omni-Man has been fighting and conquering worlds for thousands of years.
Right, so what
He
can you
comes from
do?
a warrior culture based on fighting. Homelander, on the other hand, comes from a test tube and never had to push himself as a fighter because he was always so much stronger than everyone else.
And that's the key difference between them. One is a warrior, and the other is a bully. Homelander
Yeah.
was never going to give up easy, but Omni-Man's skill, power, and Viltrumite heritage earned him the win.
When it comes to Superman knockoffs, Homelander had to eat his
Surprised
heart
Homelander lived
winner
that long
is
with his
Omni-Man.
heart out, but you know, claps for Omni-Man.
Death Battle is back, and we've launched a brand new membership
People
program
weren't
for our
kidding.
YouTube
That
channel.
was a brutal
By directly
death.
supporting our team,
Yeah.
you'll get unique emotes, badges, and
Like there was
additional
so
content
much
and
to
a
it. Wasn't
bunch
just the
more.
visual
Click that
gore.
join
It
button
was
to see
like
more info,
what
and
was
thanks so much for
happening.
watching.
Next time on Death Battle, we have Magneto. Yeah. And Tetsuo. All right, Magneto versus Tetsuo. I don't know what Tetsuo is from, if that wasn't clear. I'm aware of Magneto, though, from, you know, Marvel's X-Men, so that's the thing. Yeah, okay. No idea. No idea about that one, just because no idea what Tetsuo is capable of. But it is, I assume, a case of comic book versus anime. And that often goes in the favor of comic book, and not necessarily, because again, you have like Hulk versus Broly, so you know, it can happen where the other person wins or the other group. So this one, yeah, let's just jump right into talking about this death battle because I don't have anything to say about the next time yet. Yeah, I thought that was really good. It actually, I didn't realize right away that the entire fight was going to be animated like that, you know? And I thought it was really cool. I don't know how the animation lines up with like, the Seven stuff, because there was definitely some animated, Seven stuff that was thrown into the analyses. I thought it was all a live action thing, but apparently there's a good chunk of animation too, which I probably had known at the time with like the 7 Battle Royale, but I totally forgot. But I just thought the animation style looked really good and like comparable to Invincible stuff. Like it wasn't as fluid, the animation, but just visually, a lot of the same like factors and elements were there that I definitely, like, I knew what it was trying to emulate, or at least I say new. To me, it definitely seemed like it was trying to emulate the style of Invincible, and I think it did a really good job of, you know, nailing that. Again, not perfect, but when you have like Invincible has a whole team, and this, you know, it's obviously a smaller lower budget thing, but like it still looked really, really good. So that was very cool. Because, you know, I'm so used to just like the 3D stuff, which, you know, can be really good, and the like 2D sprites, which can be really good. But I don't know, this just, it seems to have a higher production value to me, or, you know, production quality. It costs more, is what I'm saying. But I think it was very much worth it in this case. So yeah, Omni-Man versus Homelander. It went about how I expected as far as, you know, we got the heat vision in, we got Homelander's like sonic scream in, and they both did affect Omni-Man, but not to any extent where Homelander could have a win. Just because, yeah, Omni-Man was too fast, he was too powerful, he was too durable, and he had way too much experience compared to Homelander. So, yeah, the brutality of this one was very spot on, I think, to the two series. Again, I can't speak too much for the boys, I only have what I gathered from this, but like Invincible, very much so. Just like with people vaporizing, with, you know, the jaw being like just seamlessly torn out, or like easily, without a struggle, that's what I'm trying to say. Effortlessly, that one. And like the brutality of the ending, I almost feel like, I don't think this was necessarily the goriest that it might be. I don't think it was the goriest that we've seen, or at least I won't say that it was. But, again, it was a little bit more than just the gore with this death. It was like there was such a, like, savagery to it, and it was so cold being delivered by Omni-Man. You know, the promise at the beginning, again, I knew he was gonna follow through with it, I just didn't know how, and the way that they executed it was really like gruesome and well done. So I'm impressed by that. And just the setup of this fight as a whole, I thought was like so good, actually. You know that I care about a story. I at least, you know, like my least favorite thing is just when the two characters are there and then it's like fight and that's it, and then they just start fighting. I love when they have some sort of justification for like why the two run into each other and start to fight, and I thought that this was like perfect. If we're going to assume that Omni-Man and Homelander are like in the same universe, then yeah, it totally makes sense that Homelander, being like the egotistical freak he is, would just show up and demand, you know, through threats of violence, that Omni-Man back off, so that Omni-Man doesn't take his, you know, popularity. That absolutely makes sense to me. And then for Omni-Man to just be like, yeah, no, you're gonna die. Like, it felt very real. It felt very, like, good. It's gotta be, I think, one of my favorite intros, at least in, you know, recent time that I can think of. Just because it makes so much sense for both the characters, the world. But like Invincible, and from what I gather, like the Seven, this animation also did a really good job of just showing how frail humanity itself is. Because, you know, the people who get in the way of the fight are just gone. We get this sometimes in some death battles, but usually in death battles, it's just the two combatants, you know, and they fight it out, and, you know, they're huge powerhouses, eventually one of them dies. But now and then, in death battles like these, we actually get to see just how far above humanity these combatants actually are, with how they just throw human life away, with the people who are vaporized, with the plane that is just, you know, beamed in half without a second thought. And it's crazy because these two characters are not even close to the most powerful characters that we've seen in Death Battle. Very powerful, just we've dealt with so much more. So it's kind of crazy to think about. But yes, I really liked this death battle. I understand for sure the warnings about the gore that people gave me, because it was absolutely there. But having seen Invincible, this was nothing new, I would say. So if I hadn't seen Invincible and then was thrown into this, I probably it probably would have been a little bit different for me taking all of it in. But having seen that again, especially like that last episode, I think it was the last episode or two, you know? Yeah, no, it was accurate to the show, which I really appreciate. So let me know what you all thought about this death battle in the comments below, whether you liked it, whether you disliked it, what you thought about this or that, etc., so on and so forth. And next time we will be watching Magneto versus Tetsuo. So I hope you're looking forward to that. But yes, with that, we're calling it here. So have a good one, everybody.